We went out camping a couple weeks ago, and I went to set up our pop-up camper, and one of the latches on the roof didn't get undone. So when I went to crank it up, I snapped the gearbox. I kind of figured that's what I had done at the time, but we did manage to get it set up while we were there. It's kind of a pain, but I did manage to get the camper set up, and we finished out the weekend camping. But then I got home, tore into the gearbox, which wasn't really made to be got into, but I managed to get it off the truck, tear it open, and fixed the gear that was broke. So I kind of took some videos of it. They're not great quality, but I'm gonna try and put it together into something so that if anybody winds up needing to fix their camper, maybe it'll help. But I'll probably have to do some voiceovers on some of it because the audio is not that great. But anyway, that'll be this video if you need to fix your broken gears on your pop-up. Well, I got the gearbox open, and there's the gears that are broke off. I was really kind of hoping it was like the gears up on that top half. That'd be much easier just to weld those up and cut new teeth in. But unfortunately it was on the small gear on the inside, and those are kind of one solid piece. So I took and figured I'd just cut those two gears apart, so I had two separate pieces. That way I could work on that small section there and replace the teeth that were broken off. So this is kind of how I did it. You can see I've got the smaller section cut off of the bigger one, and I've got the weld built up in there. I mean, it's rough, but it gives me something to shape the teeth out of. And so now I'm just gonna mark out where the teeth are gonna be and see if I can't shape new teeth into it. Alright, I just kind of chucked it up into the drill to kind of help with getting it round. You can spin the drill and it helps shape it a little bit better rounded. And then I took a nickel and glued it on the end, marked up the teeth on the good side, and then spun it around and glued it in place over the spot where I have to shape new teeth, and that kind of helps me keep them lined up correctly. And then here you can see I've got them all just sort of roughly cut in place, and that gives me a good starting point. From there I'm just going to take and shape them until they work properly. And here you can see I've got them all pretty well cut in. I mean, it's pretty good, but it still needs probably some cleanup with a file or something like that, and should be good. And here I'm got them all in the gearbox, just kind of roughly trying to test it out, and it don't work as good as it should here because there's nothing to hold them in place, so they kind of lean over and catch on each other. But I'm kind of thinking once I weld the small gear back to the big one, the weld is gonna hit on this gear next to it. So I'm thinking on this gear I'm gonna put a bevel around all the edges of the gear so it misses the weld on this small one. And here I've got it back out of the gearbox. I put some glue on it that sets up fast, put it in the gearbox, let it set up so that all my teeth were lined up where they should be. That way when I weld it, everything works and is lined up. And here I've got it all welded back together today, and I mean, it ain't exactly pretty, but it does work. I put it in the gearbox and tried it out. I did have to, in some of these little points, clean up with my mini die grinder to make it work better, but I put it all together and it does actually work pretty good. So we'll just see when I put it in the camper if it snaps with the weight of the camper or not. So here's hoping. It appears to be working. And so there you go. We have had it out camping 2 times since then, and it actually goes up smoother than it ever did before. And I made a few other little improvements to the gearbox and whatnot, so it actually works better than it ever did. But you know, that's how, if you need to really fix a gear of any kind, you can kind of build it up with weld, as long as you burn it in nice and hot, so it's a good join. And then, I mean, it takes time, but you know, just shape the teeth back out of it. But that's how we fixed up our old pop-up and kept her running for now. You know, hopefully this helps somebody out.